Hey guys, welcome to the next edition of the SoundTraxx podcast. This is Train Talk from Milepost 141. This is the Soundbites podcast. Jeez, first day with my new mouth. Holy crap. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are out there in the world. Thanks for joining. And we hope to make this episode a little bit more, a little entertaining for you. So we've got some cool stuff to share with you. We've got we've got some announcements to make, things coming up in the future, as far as visits are concerned, things like that. So let's jump right into it. So. Graham, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. You know, we've had some really warm weather here recently. It's been really nice, and now it's snowing again today. So it's that time of the year where about anything can happen. Yeah,
if you don't like Durango weather, what do they say? Wait 5 minutes. But what's weird, you're right, because this past weekend, I was out working in my garage, working on the layout, and I had the door up. Yeah, and it was just beautiful weather outside. It was gorgeous, and now we're raining. And here we are in the beginning of March, and I feel like we should have gotten all this stuff 2 months ago. Why are we?
Yeah,
it's crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining too much because we certainly need the moisture. Any of you guys are familiar with the area. When it doesn't snow a lot and we don't get much out there's always a high risk of fire danger come the summer. And you're new to this. Being in this area, Albuquerque's almost always, it seems like, under fire danger.
Yeah, pretty much.
This was I think the worst one was when we had that 416 fire, and I think it was in 2018 where, half of the hillside burned out north of town up by Hermosa. But the good news was that they were able to save all structures and no major injuries. Yeah. So that was a blessing in disguise in that regard. We've got cold weather outside. It's blowing snow. It looks like it's going horizontally right now. So what a great time for model railroading. So let's get into it. What do you got for us?
So this is an older Atlas Master GP38-2 rather, and came with another brand of decoder in it. And I went ahead and recently swapped it out to a Blunami. So on the interior of the model is a 21-pin socket. It's very easy to upgrade a lot of these modern models to Blunami. I get people, they say they're scared of doing their first install, and really it couldn't be much easier. So I swapped out the decoder, and it now has a new heart. I call it new guts. And
new brain.
A
better brain.
We did definitely upgrade, and a huge difference in the sound quality, even with the speaker that was already in there. So, yeah, it's a very nice model. It's got cab engineer figures, which is always fun that Atlas has done.
That's actually an underrated thing.
Yeah.
Because more companies are now detailing the interior of the cab, but then they don't put figures in it. It's like you're almost there.
Yeah.
And then so now you're trying to source them, and right now the only people I've seen that you can get figures from right now are Broadway Limited. And if you can find some of the LaBelle figures that you can find. But what's interesting about those figures is you have one that's kind of leaning, and the other's actually sitting, so you can't really put them in a cab.
Doesn't really look too much like an engineer.
And then I think it's Pricer has another figure, because this is something I've been looking for, because I put figures in every one of my cabs, and I'll get to it when I talk about this one, but this has a cab interior that I added.
Okay.
And trying to put figures in them, because who's running the train? Ghost train.
Yeah, you have to have people operating the train. And I started just buying a lot of Atlas models just because I love how they run. They always perform well, and then they have stuff like the engineer crew figures that not a lot of brands do.
Yeah. And I've seen that, just on a little side note, Atlas has started using SoundTraxx products in some of their NSCAF stuff. So you HO guys, talk to Atlas. Let them know you want to see SoundTraxx products in their HO stuff as well, because the tides are turning.
Yeah, it really makes the model just sound, run, everything just is so much better.
Yeah. And they do a good job. I mean, there's the level of detail on those. They've got the diamond plating on the walkways, and you've actually even got the see-through steps on the side, which I can't say I have. because of the Athearn models. This was one of their RTRs, but we get into that. But you see, it's got everything there that, I mean, you could almost put that next to a Proto or any of the high-end brass and match it.
They hold up pretty much, even it's 10 years old, they hold up with the modern stuff, basically besides lighting.
Yeah.
And so we might get into that eventually. On this prototype, there would actually be left and right ditch lights, has the high headlight, and then there would be two more headlights up above the cab-mounted light, and they also flash when the ditch lights, when the horn's blown, just like the ditch lights would.
Oh, wow.
So a full lighting package, and I might give this treatment later on, but for right now, it's good to just...
Gotcha. Am I seeing a different color in that lower lens?
No, just...
Or is it just... No, it's just the angle.
Just the angle and the light.
Never mind, it was the angle I was at.
Yeah.
Because the upper one was reflecting the light from around us, and so it made me think the lower one was maybe a red light. And since you were talking about the upper added lights and everything, the one thing I like about these Atlas models, too, is that the number boards and the headlight are all one plastic casting.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to light those number boards separately because you just cut those number board castings off from the center part. So there you have your LED for your headlights, and then you add an LED for each of the number boards. Boom, you're done. It's already there.
Yeah, well, right now, just with the headlight, the number boards come on.
Right, you had just said you just switched it over, so
Yeah.
it's just it's a simple conversion. And so I'm working on them, guys. We got to get him into the lighting features, but adding all those extra lights on it would be really cool because then you can really flash and shine down the track. But it is a sharp looking model. I tell you what, I like that much better than those European stuff that your predecessor used to bring in. But I noticed one thing, okay, guys, and this is just the pickiness in me. I see one major issue with where you've got your model there. I don't have anything to fix it, but your pipes for your brakes are underneath. They don't go underneath; they go on top.
Yeah, I had them bent down when I was removing the shell on and off just to keep them safe. But
but
I need to bend them back
you need
up.
to fix that because that looks terrible.
Easy enough.
I see that. It's funny. I see that a lot of times when I'll be watching videos online, and I'll see it, and it's just. I figure probably part of it is people don't necessarily know what it's supposed to do, and it comes out of there because it does. It allows it to rotate around the brake cylinder. So I've seen them a lot of times, like my MP15s, they came looking like that, and I went immediately and fixed it and put it up. But if people don't know that's where it's supposed to go, it's easy to just leave them where they are. So I was going to give you a hard time about it, so you know about it.
Yeah.
But you just didn't fix it.
I'll get it fixed.
It's like running fingers down a chalkboard.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's take it for a spin and see what you got.
Get the camera?
Oh, yeah, we can get the camera. We got our B-roll camera here. Go ahead and probably don't want to shine it into the light. Let's turn it around this way here.
That'll work.
That'll work. And my phone went to sleep, which is fine because I love that non-turbo sound on that thing.
Yeah.
Those GP38s sound so good.
It's fun. So the Alaska Railroad in the modern era only has 3 engine types. Jeep 38-2s, Jeep 40-2s, and SD70 Max. So modeling Alaska, I get to have the turbo and the non-turbo 645, so I get to experience both of those great sounds.
Yep.
Let's take her for a spin.
Which horn is that?
That is I know the CV value is 15. It's the P5A.
Okay. Because I noticed it was a 5-chime.
Yeah.
Now you upgraded this also with the KD couplers on it, right?
Yes, those are just standard 148 KD couplers.
Okay.
I love everything about the Atlas models. Great, except for the stock couplers that come on them. They have those plastic, the split ones.
Those are the Accumates.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing that always happens when I get in Atlas models. I take those couplers out, put in. Now I use the 158s, the scale head.
I've done pretty much all 148 because my model railroad club has handley track, and you get some oddities over time of 30-year-old handley track.
Oh yeah, I can easily see that.
It helps out just overall,
right,
with operations.
So at this moment, you just have headlight and backup light.
Correct.
Oh my God! Oh, you're so far behind. No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, we're modeling the
early days.
The early days.
There you go. Well, if the early days, then you'd have class lights and you'd still have truck lights.
Well, it's fun
or ground
too.
lights.
Another fun lighting we can actually do on these. All the Alaska Railroad engines have red markers for passenger.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, that would make sense.
I might add those in the nose as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what era would you say you're modeling that? And I think you told us last time, but I get hit in the head a lot.
So like those F units I showed last time, those would be much earlier, anywhere 50s, 60s, 70s. And then the 2004 is actually still in this Alaska big, they call it the billboard paint scheme.
Okay.
And there are, I think, 2 or 3 left still in this paint scheme. So this is actually how it appears in the modern day.
Okay.
I have another one, 2007, which is still in this scheme as well. And that one has not been upgraded yet, but it's a future project.
Gotcha. Well, when were these delivered to the Alaska Railroad?
So,
in the 60s, 70s? Like,
I need to double check on all my history, but I believe the 2004 was actually original Penn Central and Conrail, and then they shipped it up to Alaska.
Got it. Okay.
So.
Just wondering, because that's the cool thing about the history of the lineage of where the locomotives came from. So that's always interesting.
Yep, for sure.
Cool. Well,
what have you got to show us?
I got another boring bluebird. Well, I say that. It's I'll turn the camera around a little bit. But this is a standard Athearn RTR SD40 that I added a bunch of details to it because the Athearn RTR, they were trying to differentiate between the Genesis, but one of the product developers once upon a time had told me that the line between Genesis and RTR kept getting more and more blurred every day. And so basically this thing already had things like the cab sun, or the sunshades, the grab irons and all the air hoses and everything like that, and a lot of the fuel tank detail and everything was there. The only thing that basically they didn't put on were the lift rings and the sunshade or the windshield wipers. And so it's like, you're pretty much seeing the line blurred. Now, of course, they didn't have the diamond step walkways or the see-through, and I figure that'll be a project maybe sometime down in the future to upgrade it, because I think Canon and Company makes the tread plates that you can buy for these things. And then the side still steps, you basically just cut them out and put them in. But when you put them in there, put a blue paint on them, slap it in there and weather it, and you'll never know the difference. But this is one that I did my standard treatment to. Basically illuminated the number boards, illuminated the class lights, and I've got the ground lights or the truck lights on either side of it. And for those of you guys who want to see, I'm going to do a screen recording here on my phone, so you guys can kind of see that when I pull out my menu to the side, I've got my headlight here, so I can turn that on and off. But when I go over to the other lights, you can see that I've got them labeled. I've got my front class lights, which you can see are actually illuminated now. And then I've got the front number boards. But I've also turned on the ground lights or the truck lights with that as well, because traditionally they're going to run short hood forward. And the number boards are the train number. So in this case, this is saying extra 3039.
Okay.
And then, of course, there would be a direction oriented with that, whether it's headed northbound, southbound, or whatever. And so I put the class lights are on a separate one, but the number boards I did with the truck lights or the ground lights, because traditionally then the one with the number boards is the train as the locomotive of record. And so it would be the one the crew would be in, and therefore the ground lights would be on, because the whole point of the ground lights is so the crew can look out the window and see that the ground's actually moving.
Yeah. Wouldn't make any sense to have the number boards on anyways.
Right. And this one here, they didn't have the clear lens on the back for the rear number board, so I haven't drilled those out yet. But the front ones here in these type of cabs is actually hollow.
Oh, okay.
Most people don't realize that, but the cab, the number boards up here are hollow. So the lens isn't printed on a giant thick chunk of plastic. You can just pull that lens off and then you reveal an empty cavity. So the challenge here is that the numbers, for whatever reason, they printed the white letters and then they printed a solid black background. Yeah. So what happens if you put a light in there, you're trying to light through black paint, which it doesn't do very well. So I had to make decals for them, and so you just put the decals on it and you put them on the outside and you put some clear coat on it and it looks great, and then you just put those back in place, and there's minimal work to light those up. The back ones, because it's solid plastic, it's a little harder to illuminate. So, and then of course, because of this, the locomotive on my layout technically can run in either direction. I do still have the rear class lights come on as a separate one, and I know the camera view doesn't show it, but they're illuminated, and then the rear headlight, and I'd use those independent of direction. Because the real world, the engineer doesn't turn off the headlight and then turn on the backup light to make a switching move. So, but the interesting thing about this particular model is, like I said, I've added a bunch of detail into it. And of course, as we talked about in one of the previous episodes, I've talked about adding the magnetic MU cables and the magnetic air hoses, which are on the front of this locomotive as well. So it really makes a nice view when they're all connected together. It looks awesome. And I even took some of the Details West under body electrical conduits and put it up on the frame, and it added some air dryers and piping and stuff like that. So really, I added a little bit of detail to it, and that little tiny bit of detail takes it so much farther beyond.
You couldn't ever tell, really.
Right, and so it blends right in with any Genesis model now that I've got that level of detail. And the interesting thing about the cab, like I talked about, is this is a Cannon & Company cab interior that I've added into it. So you pop the cab off, and they're designed to fit almost exactly in the Athearn bodies.
Yeah, I was actually checking out on eBay recently, and people are 3D printing cab interiors.
Oh, yeah.
And I had never thought of that as a good use of 3D printing, and they make them to drop in specific locomotives.
Hadn't seen those yet. I have, like I said, when Canon announced these, I don't know, probably going on almost 10 years ago now, I bought like 20 of them right off the bat, and so I've been slowly putting them in, and I still have one or two kits left. Yeah. But I kind of went through a period where I wasn't doing a lot of work on models. So now I'm back in doing something. I've got 4 projects on my workbench right now. It's crazy. I'd almost rather go work on models than actually go run them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But so anyway, that's kind of the story behind this model. And then, like I started to do the scale knucklehead on the couplers, the scale KDs. And that's about it. So with this locomotive is actually a little bigger than what I really need on my layout. But what's cool is I've got this one, and I think I had it on one of these episodes with the other SD40-2C, where I ran both of them together. But I didn't talk about this particular locomotive individual, which is why I brought it back today. But with those two, I can now have a decent, heavy train. And every now and then they'd use an SD40 somewhere, but I don't see any need for them other than now I get to take it somewhere. Like an upcoming show, I get to go run at a club. I'm actually pretty excited about it.
Where are you going?
So we'll go ahead and shift gears here. I'm going to save this screen recording so we can show you guys later. But the upcoming... I've got we're going to be at the O-Scale meet in Lombard, Illinois, which is just outside the Chicago area. And that is March 21st.
Better look at the calendar.
It's the 21st, it's the 22nd and 23rd. It's that Saturday, Sunday. The 21st is the open, where they're open and everybody can set up. And so I'm actually pretty excited about that because I really think... the O-Scale guys really need to look at this Blunami because a lot of them are still 3-rail AC. If you convert that to DC, you can power the decoder just fine, and they're DC motors already. And then the O-Scale scale guys, a lot of them are still using DC. And I sort of understand it because in DC world, you can run track power, turn it on and take your meter and look, and you can say, okay, there's track power, my model should be moving. And therefore, I can troubleshoot it from there. If the model's not moving, okay, drop problems in the model. But with DCC, it's an embedded digital signal that's going through the rails. You can't put your meter there and see what your model's supposed to do. All you can see is the DCC powers there. So I think for years, a lot of the O-Scalers have kind of, they build these large layouts. I was actually seeing online one of our retail partners, a guy named Ed Rapay, E&J Backshop, had a beautiful Pensy layout put on one of the YouTube channels recently. And he's got a gorgeous layout, but man, I can't imagine trying to convert that thing to DCC if he didn't already. I think he already is, but I mean, but my point being is that's kind of typical of a lot of O-scalers. They build the big layouts.
Yeah, it's just really good because using Blunami with DC, you don't have to change out anything besides the electronics in the engine.
Yep.
And then you get the full operation, the full capability of the decoder. All the sounds, all the features, the control, the lights, everything, just as if you were running DCC.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so to show that off, I'm going to be at the show. I'm literally just bringing a DC power supply, put it on the track, and power it up. And I'm going to run 2 large O-scale models that I'll have with me on the table. And then I actually am bringing my ON3 consolidation C19. The RGS41, that's a complete battery power.
Yeah, and that's another great example of all the flexibility with the Blunami is battery power. It's perfect for. Yep. You don't need any extra radio receivers and transmitters, anything else.
Exactly.
It's all built right in.
Exactly. And so with this battery power one, the model itself doesn't have any track power wires in it because I actually did inherit it. I got it from a friend of mine, so I upgraded it to Blunami. But all the track power wires had been cut, so literally I just used the power wires that were in the original Tsunami that was inside the model. But I could add the wires to the track power, and then I could have a toggle switch inside or a slide switch somewhere where I can go from track power to battery power and back and forth. So it really gives you that flexibility.
And I also think another huge one recently, a lot of the O-scale companies are coming out with Bluetooth systems in the engines, and people want to still be able to use their older engines, analog engines, with their new systems alongside with their newer engines, and Blunami gives you that as well.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't work with their Bluetooth system.
Well, it gives
it gives the ability to run it all on the same track.
Yeah.
But you can always upgrade those new ones to the Blunami and change it over. So just want to make sure to clarify that.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them the idea that ours will work with the other system because the protocol, it's actually a DCC protocol coming from your smart device, whether it be your phone or your tablet. It's using a DCC protocol, whereas their Bluetooth might be the same type of pairing system, but it's using a different language going through the rails or through the wires in that case.
Mostly so you can run it alongside. That's what I mean.
Yep. So I am excited about that, but I mentioned running trains. So there's a couple of other appearances I'll be doing. I get there Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning-ish. I think it's like around 1 o'clock. And so on Thursday, the 20th, I'll be at Des Plaines Hobbies. And Des Plaines is just north of the airport in the north part of Chicago. So I'll be over there for the afternoon, do some presentations, some clinics, things like that. And then Friday morning, it'll be set up at the show. And then Friday afternoon, evening, I'll be at Lombard Hobbies in Lombard, Illinois. And we'll be there showing off the product and being able to answer your questions, things like that. So I'm really excited to be at both of those stores because they're both great stores. They do really well for us. And I'm friends with those guys out there. They're really nice people out there at those stores. Jeez, I can't even speak again. And then Sunday, I'm actually going to be doing. This is where I get to operate because the Prairie Scale Model Railroad Club, which is a fantastic, gorgeous HO layout. They're in the basement of a building, and the layout was originally built for O-scale.
Oh wow.
And so you're talking giant curve radiuses and everything like that, but now they've converted to HO. Man, that's a fun layout to operate. But I'll be over there. I'll do a little presentation clinic for them folks. If you're in the area on Sunday night and you want to come visit, check with the Prairie Scale Model Railroad Club and talk to them about coming in. And then afterward, when we break, we're just going to run trains till we drop. And because I don't fly home until Monday. So we're just going to go over there and run trains. And this will be my third or fourth time there operating, bringing some models. So I'll bring some Missouri Pacific stuff. And
maybe you can shoot some video.
Oh, that's a given. I'll be shooting video. I have actually a couple of videos of me running my stuff. I have some Mopac stuff and some BNSF stuff that I brought to run there on my personal YouTube channel.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I'll be shooting video. It'll be fun, and I'm looking forward to operating there. But most of all, I can't wait to get out there because the O-scale convention there's a lot of great people, a lot of great vendors will be there. And if you're into O-scale, apparently this is the place to be. So you want to make sure to come out and see us there. If you have any questions about it or want to look it up, go to marchmeet.com, I think it is, or marchmeet.org, I forget. It'll be right here in the screen, or here somewhere, I don't know. But we'll put it on the screen here for you for the website so you can come out and check it out. But it's a really good time. This will be my second or third time to the March Meet, so it's really a good event, and I haven't been there since before the world ended. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there. So lots of cool stuff in the area.
Yeah.
So, well, that's everything I've got planned for today. Any thoughts for you?
I think that's about it. Did we want to mention the Rocky Mountain Train Show coming up too?
Yeah, we got Rocky Mountain Train Show coming up. That's April 5th and 6th in Denver, Colorado at the Western States Exposition Center or something like that. But we'll have another one of these before that'll release, and we'll do a short video on our YouTube channel as well, inviting you out to that. But Rocky Mountain Train Show in April, that's another great show. There we get a lot of manufacturers from all over the country. A lot of retailers come out to visit that one, so that one's another good one. Really looking forward to that. And then if you want to see where we're going to be, if you go to our website at SoundTraxx.com, under company, you'll see upcoming shows. So you can see kind of what we've planned and committed to throughout the calendar year. And if there's a show in your area that you think we should be at, send us a note, sales@SoundTraxx.com, and let us know about it. If we don't know about it, we can't come. Don't know if we can promise anything more this year. We've kind of looked at the schedule and everything, but send the info and we'll look at it. If we can't do it this year, we'll put it on the maybe for next year.
Sounds good.
So anyway, guys, with that, we try to make this brief and short. We got it right about the 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
So
we didn't go over this time.
Well, there's no set
over
time.
Yeah.
We just want to. We know your time is valuable, and we appreciate the time that you do give us. So we don't want to occupy this. I know there's some podcasts that I listen to that sometimes go into the 2-hour mark, and I just can't find time to do it because you want to listen to the whole thing, but starting from beginning and it's over 2 hours, and you're like, I don't have time for that. So
this is perfect for I think my commute's about 40 minutes.
Yep, perfect.
And probably most people's commutes are 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Perfect amount of time.
So, plus we also have to watch battery life on our cameras. I should be plugging them in, but I'm not that smart.
Oh, well.
So, anyway, guys, that's it for this time. We appreciate you tuning in. Hope this was entertaining for you. And if you have any questions, send us an email, support@soundtraxx.com, and you're going to get this guy over here, and he'll answer any questions if you need help setting up anything, doing any projects, wiring locomotives, whatever you need. We're here to help you. We would just want to help you enjoy your hobby just that much more. So with that, that's everything we've got. This is Train Talk from Milepost 141. This is our SoundTraxx Sound Bites podcast. And we hope this has been enjoyable, and we'll see you guys next time.